you really don't find this plaintiff terribly sympathetic or terribly authentic.
I personally do, and I would agree with the other gentleman. You know, the bottom line is I think he's trying to take advantage of this situation because he knows it's a TV show, and perhaps he was thinking they want to settle with him or give him some money so they don't have to face so-called bad press. But I think ultimately, you know, his injury is minimal, and in terms of his allegations of being humiliated, you know, I just really question that. It's not like his whole family was in there watching this, and for years to come he has to hear about it at the Christmas table or Thanksgiving table. I just really, you know, question the sincerity of that claim.
Because as you and I were talking about at break, the only reason why this tape actually became public initially was because Mr. Zelnick released it to a number of media outlets. So what does that say to you?
Yeah, that makes me question the genuineness of his claim. I think, you know, but for him bringing the clip to the media, who knows if anyone would have seen it. And like I said, although there probably were a few people in the airport at the time who saw what happened, nobody he knows, nobody he's going to see again.
Jonathan, would you agree with that? Okay, well, what about you, Mr. Jason?
Well, I think certainly he'd be entitled to recover an award of damages for any physical injuries that he sustained. I just think they're minimal in this case. It's always difficult to ask for money from a jury because you don't want to give a number that would be offensive or turn off some of the jurors. And keep in mind, the judge doesn't give the jurors any type of parameters in terms of a range of a monetary award. So it really is up to the jury to come up with a number, and they're not really given much guidance on how to arrive at that number.
And essentially, that's really phase two, because the first question is, are these defendants liable for the wrongdoing that Zelnick claimed? Did they embarrass him? Did they subject him to public ridicule? Did they kidnap? And did they inflict a battery upon him? They have to go through that analysis. Then, of course, the second question is, if they believe that there was some wrongdoing on the part of the defendants, then they've got to put some monetary value on it, and you're saying you would never put a number in front of the jury
no,
if they find the liability part.
No, what you do is the plaintiff's attorneys, you suggest the number. You have to give them a number that you think that your client is deserving, but you have to be careful there because you don't want to ask for a number that's too high and going to turn off a jury on that. And that's always a difficult thing, is what is the number that we want to ask of the jury?
Because the jury will come back and say $1. That's certainly happened in civil trials, and I'm sure in some of your cases they've come back with a number that you would have never come up with, far lower than actually you thought they should have.
But frequently you also see juries get run away. You'll see it on the splash on the front cover of a paper that they came back with $1 million for somebody who has a hangnail. Of course, you never hear what happens when the case goes up on appeal. But jurors, yeah, they can give a low award, but they can give a very high award also.
All right, that appeal question. We don't know what's going to happen in this trial, but perhaps that's in the future.